You know what makes Everson Griffen's stats so impressive? Out of all his snaps, he's only rushed the right side less than 10% of the time. That means that he's going up against these top left tackles in the league majority of the snaps based. So the fact that he's going up against those big left tackles majority of the time goes to show that his stats aren't really a fluke. Sometimes stats can lie. I don't want to say Jadeveon Clowney stats lie, but when he was in Houston, he had J.J. Watt attracting that double team. You know what I mean? So that really made him look good because he didn't have all the attention on him from the offensive line. J.J. Watt was attracting all that attention. So no shade on Clowney, but sometimes numbers can be a little bit deceptive. You guys know that. If you get in another guy's scheme, can you do the same thing that you were doing before? And that's the question for Jadeveon. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video with me. Thank you guys so much for your support. In my last video about Jadeveon Clowney, I got mixed reactions about whether we should sign Clowney or whether we should not. And I also had one of my subscribers say maybe we should consider Everson Griffen as a pass rusher, and that made me think maybe I should do a video kind of breaking down Griffen. So this is what today's video is about. So Everson Griffen is one of those defensive ends that's kind of slept on in free agency due to bigger names in his position like Jadeveon Clowney and Yannick earlier, who we saw get the franchise tag. So Everson Griffen, even though he's not a hot buzzword like Jadeveon or Yannick, he is very effective in his position. He had 4 Pro Bowl selections with the Vikings, and he's coming into his 10th season in the NFL. He was drafted in 2010 out of USC. Just last season, he had 8 sacks, 11 tackles for a loss, and 24 QB hits. That's multiple hits at a quarterback in one game. On average, because it's 16 games, 24 hits. So he got to the guy more than once during a game. That's very impressive last season. He also has the 3rd most sacks in a defensive end in the NFL right now. So the numbers are there. So where's the hesitation when it comes to Everson? So he had mental health episodes in the past. He said like he saw a therapist and he's gotten past those episodes. It's nothing huge, but it probably will spark some concern now with the coronavirus. Teams aren't able to really fully evaluate these guys. Everson is not looking for a lot of money in a long-term deal either, which is perfect for the Eagles because we have about $16 to $19 in cap space left, depending on how Jason Peters' deal finalizes. And we don't want to spend all our money because, during the season we might have an injury, and we want to be able to pick up somebody mid-season. So Griffen was really in a unique situation last season. Since Griffen had 8 sacks last season and played in 78% of the defensive snaps for the Vikings, he was able to opt out of the remainder of his 3 years of his contract with the Vikings and become a free agent. Not many players are able to do that, so that just shows how motivated Griffen is, and we need somebody who's motivated on our team as well. So like I said, we come up against some really, really tough offenses this season. We play 4 offenses that are in the top, that are in Pro Football Focus's top 5 for toughest offensive lines. We come up against David Bakatari, we come up against Tyron Smith twice, Ronnie Stanley, Ryan Ramsey, Teron Armstead. These are all offensive tackles that we have to be prepared for, and adding another edge rusher in our arsenal could really be the difference maker in those games, whether we win those games or we don't, because those are not just teams that have tough offensive lines. Those teams' offenses extend way beyond the offensive line. I mean, the Saints, it's not just their offensive line we have to worry about. It's Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara, Drew Brees even. Dallas Cowboys, we already know they have a wide receiver core that's just going to be so dominant with CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, and Amari Cooper. So these aren't just offensive lines we have to worry about. We don't think their offensive wide receiver and their running game core is just amazing as well. So we have to be prepared to knock them off the game on the front lines when it comes to the offensive line, so an edge rusher can really be that guy, that difference maker. We know Jim Schwartz likes to have a rotation. Back in the Super Bowl, we had a rotation on the ends. We had Vinny and Derek Barnett and Brandon Graham and Chris Long. These guys were able to rotate in and out of that position. So we want to be able to have that versatility and that depth on the defensive end this season. And I know our interior defensive line is so strong with Malik Jackson, Fletcher Cox, and Javon Hargrave. So that interior is really going to draw some double teams there, and having that defensive end that can really, be a savage mode, you know what I'm saying, would be really, really awesome and be a huge threat, especially when he's coming up on the one-on-ones matchups, because the interior is going to be drawing in those double teams. So, according to Pro Football Focus, Everson in 2017 had a player grade of 84.4. In 2018, 68.0, 2019, 76. So he's not at his peak, but he did improve from 2018 to 2019. He is 32 years old, so if age is concerned, he did get better last year. But it's just inconsistency in his numbers. But when Everson will get hot, he will get hot. There are a couple games last season where we saw Griffen lead the league's top 5 in QB pressures last season. And also interesting stat from 2019, in the first 11 games of last season, Daniel Hunter and Everson Griffen combined for 129 pressures. That is a dynamic duo, if I would say one. And Everson probably really just wants to be on a team that he knows can win now. We see that with these old heads, not just Everson, but Jadeveon. They want to be on a team where they're ready to win. They know that they're coming to the tail, not to say the tail ends of their career, but they know that they don't have time to waste, especially in this 2020, you know what I'm saying? So they really want to be on a team that they know that can win. Yes, Everson Griffen has had great stats with the Vikings, but the Vikings hasn't been able to get over the hump these last couple of seasons. We took them down in the NFC Championship in 2017, and then these past seasons they haven't been able to, really go far in the playoffs or really, secure that Super Bowl. So I really feel like Everson is maybe, I wouldn't say uninspired, but just looking for a new start. He did have those mental health issues with the Vikings, so maybe he's just ready to start new. He had a good season last season, like I said. He had 8 sacks, he had 11 tackles for a loss, 24 QB hits, and he ranked in the top 5 several weeks last season for defensive ends. So if we can get him for a pretty penny, a nice cheap price, I do think Everson would be a good move for us to have that rotation in our defensive end arsenal. So let me know what you think. So it's not out the realm, it's not out of the possibilities for Everson to stay in Minnesota. We don't want to really see that happen. I don't, because I'm not really big on the Minnesota Vikings. I just didn't like the way they tore us apart last season when our secondary was busted. So I would like to see Minnesota lose a piece, you know what I'm saying? Not hating, but he could stay in Minnesota, and other teams are looking at him as well. So if we want to get Everson, we're gonna kind of have to move quick, you know what I'm saying? He's been very vocal about the fact that he wants to get picked up, and he's willing to take a shorter term deal for less money. So let me know what you think. Do you think we should sign Everson Griffen? We don't really have that much depth behind Derek Barnett, Brandon Graham, and Josh Sweat. So let me know. Do you guys think Josh Sweat is ready? He can move up to that number 3 and we'll be fine? Or do you guys think we need that extra pressure on the ends? Like, comment, subscribe, turn your notification bell on. Let me know what you want to hear in my next video.